Due dates. Let's see if this will give it to me. Well, here it is right here. I'm gonna show you this, but I wanted to show y'all the penalties for filing these forms late. They could be up to like 588, 5,000. Let's share the screen here. Here it is. This was this year's filing deadline due to the IRS February 28th, February 28th, February 28th. Due to the recipient, January 31st. January 31st, and that's for 1099As. 1099Bs. That's, bank accounts and stuff. February 15th, due by 28th. 1099Cs, January 31 to the recipient, February 28th to the IRS. Those dividends and interest, we don't deal with that. 1099Ks, the NECs, January 31st and February 31st to the IRS. Okay. So, and it shows you what your minimum amounts are, $600 or more. All amounts. 1099 all amounts, 1099Bs all amounts. So now when you watch these videos, they don't tell you that you have to have these in there by a certain time. They're doing these videos all year long. Tell, send this here, send this there, send this there. Straight disregard for what the IRS says you have to have these in for. Now, if you're sending 1099s outside of the time frame that they say you need to have it in that by, automatically when they get that paperwork, they're gonna know that you're probably one of these, what they would call a sovereign citizen. And look at the top here. Say a person engaged in trade and business, including corporation, partnership, individual, estate, and trust, who makes reportable transactions during the calendar year must file information returns to report those transactions to the IRS. And actually here, it broadened the scope of who can say a person engaged in trade and business. We are always engaged in trade or business. But in order to properly get remedy or results from this, you have to follow these rules. And if you don't follow the rules, guess what? Penalties. I'm trying to find the one where it reads off how the penalties for these forms. 1099 late filing. Let's see if this will give it to me. So they're showing the low amounts here. They're saying that the penalties could be, depending on how many you're sending, these are some of the penalties, but there's a bigger penalty here that's not here. It's like 585,000. Usually when I see people doing this and they get in trouble with the IRS and they come back with what you call a frivolous filing, they get that's 5,000 per frivolous filing. Then they get hit with like $300,000 to $500,000 worth of penalties, and now you're in debt. Let's see the 1099A instructions. That's the big one. And the 1099-Cs are the one that they love to teach on this one. Let's see. Is this the instruction? What's new? I don't want NC. They're talking about the C's. It says here, file form 1099 acquisition and abandonment of secured property for each borrower if you lend money in connection with your trade or business and in full or partial satisfaction of the debt. You acquire an interest in the property that is security for the debt, or you have reason to know that the property has been abandoned. You need not be in business of lending money to be subject to this reporting requirement. So that right there is a mouthful. It says you do not need to be in the business of lending money to be subject to these filing requirements. Now, I'm going to tell you, 1099As is a very important part of you get a mortgage and getting it paid off. See, there is no going in and filling out this form ahead of time. You have to create the debt first. You have to create the security first by initiating the transaction, initiating the mortgage, and then the next filing year, you process it. See, what they're teaching people to go ahead of time before they even get the house, they want to do this paperwork and then move, and they're supposed to process this and you move in the house. It'll never happen that way. Yes, you're going to have your credit straight. You're going to have to buy the house exactly how you would normally buy it, then turn around and do your 1099-A process after the fact, after the debt is created. There's no such thing. We got people, I've seen people who can't even afford to live where they're living now, trying to go out and get $500,000 houses with this 1099 process. Yeah, for real. For real. Somebody said, so now is what are you going to do? You heard what I had to say? And most of all, let's keep it real. I'm only repeating what you've already said to yourself. That's why you're here. That's why you tune in every week. Yeah, I'm only repeating what you already said to yourself. I'm not saying anything new. I might be saying it in a different way. I might be saying it in a different tone. I might be saying it with some force differently. But for the most part, your spiritual self has been knocking you over the head, telling you, hey, what you doing? Hey, 3 o'clock in the morning, get up, write that thing, that inspirational thought you had. Write it down. Or go act on it. And what do? You look at that clock, turn over, I'll get it later and go to sleep. Hakeem, how you know? How you know you in my bedroom? You can see us? You spying on us? No. I ain't got to spy on you. I ain't got to know. I know how we are. I know what we really are, and we all operate the same way. We come from the same designer. We come from the same designer who designed us to be spiritual and powerful and divine. And the way we get our inspiration is when everybody's calmed down and all the negative energy is subsided. That's when, in the wee hours of the night, is when God can really speak to you and get you in that corner and start to talk to you. That's what happens. How you know I can't? Because it happens to me all the time. And a lot of times I listen, and then sometimes I don't. And I always regret when I don't. That static are being sacrificed. And that's, if your stuff's not available, they can't hear it. Sometimes you got to feel your way through the dark, and I struggled all the way up into the minute. Peace, prosperity, and extreme wealth to all you guys.
This is Hindsight Radio. I represent it. The information station changing the nation.
All right, peace, prosperity, and extreme wealth to everyone. Hope everybody's doing good. Man, I had um a busy day today. My mom's in town. Had to run. She wanted to see her doctor that's in this area where I live. Um, so I had to take care of that this afternoon. Glad to have her. Um, it's just been one of those days. Just the day got by me. Um, but I hope everybody's doing good. I'm doing good. Health is good. You know, as we're moving into the month of May. Tomorrow's what, May 1st already. 4 months are gone. We into the fifth month. Half the year is just about done. Half the year, man, isn't that something? That half the year is done already? It's crazy. But anyway, how are you guys doing? Can you guys hear me good out there? Let me just do my mic check. Today I am going to talk somewhat about the birth certificates and why it's important that you should record your own birth certificate. And it's not too late to do it. You can take the documents you already have, create you a affidavit with the details of your birth, have someone have a couple of witnesses, then have that notarized, and then record that in your family Bible. Now, once you get it notarized, you should always get the notary authenticated. Now, let me clear something up. Sometimes you can get confused when I tell you to authenticate the notary. Some people get that confused with authenticating the document. They cannot authenticate that document that they didn't create, that their registrar of the state didn't create. They can only authenticate the authenticity or the commission of the notary, and that's all you want. Because what they're going to do is say this notary at the time of this signing was authorized to sign this. And you just want that extra layer of authentication on your document or certification. So just remember that you're only authenticating the notary. So when you're creating your own documents like your marriage statements, and your marriage statement should say something like statement of marriage under religious rights or Christian religion rights or Buddhist religious rights. And then state the facts. And they'll try to play games with you too, right? You'll send your stuff in to get the notary authenticated, and then they'll send something back saying, oh, the notary can't authenticate their own document, their own statements, when it didn't. My documents don't have the notary making statements of what's going on. They just say, I witnessed these people, boom, boom, boom. And then the people make the statement of their own marriage in that statement, and then we notarize that. And I researched for some of you who want to get benefits, some type of medical benefits. The rules are stating that as long as you have something that is, because sometimes the marriage certificates are not available, so they made a way where you can create your own statements. As long as you give that to them, they will say, hey, you can get the benefits. And while I'm on that discussion, I was asked today, actually by my mom. She asked me, aren't you, I was giving her some information, and she was like, aren't you worried about that you can have problems from that stuff when I talk about not being a U.S. citizen? I said, no, why should I have a problem? I'm only following their rules, right? Like when you read the passport application oath, it tells you if you don't want to be seen as one of this, you need to have an explanatory statements and follow the instructions on the acts and conditions on page 4. See, people will ask those questions because they haven't read this stuff. Everything I'm teaching is based off their rules, and we're following their rules. Like, for instance, about doing tax returns. Tax returns are illegal for U.S. citizens and non-resident aliens, right? Those people have to do a 1040. That's according to their rules. But if you're certifying and you're putting on the record that you're not, that's why it's important that you do your passport and do it the way I teach it. So now if you're being questioned, well, no, he told the Secretary of State of the United States that he wasn't, and they gave them a passport on that information. By the way, my daughter just, remember I told you a couple of weeks ago, we went in and got her, applied for her passport. It came today in the mail, less than 2 weeks. Now they say 2 to 3 weeks for passports, even if you do expedited. It's been less than that time. I'm sure really it's been, times are going, days are going by so fast. Let me look at my calendar. We went in there on when did I go? I went to Miami this week on the 15th. I believe we applied. And here it is, the 30th, we got it in the mail. Then they said they were sending all of her supporting documents back that we used to verify her nationality. All of those are coming back. So if you're someone who doesn't know how to get your children's passports properly, you need to get on my upcoming webinar. I haven't set a date for it. Actually, I have taking all the teachings, all the most important teachings from the passport, name change, trust, church, and your 1041s and 1099 processes, and combine them into one big teaching. So right now I'm planning a big event, and it's not going to be cheap, because I'm going to be giving, like, usually when I teach, I say this is what you need to do, but I don't have like the details, the intricacies of how to and what to do. This seminar is going to be like a workshop. It's going to be a workshop that's coming up. So, and it's going to cost some money, and it's going to be a 2-day seminar. But I'm trying to pick the best city I want to do this in, where we could get there and have a good time at the same time. Get there, have this 2-day, then, on our downtown, we could have some place to, break bread and let our head down, so to speak. So, that's going to be a 2-day event. That's the download I got. 2-day event. And of course, I'm going to be going into the whole new, I wouldn't even say, the whole process of bringing yourself totally out from these birth certificates, from these socials, all of that, leaving the whole "in God we trust" behind. Somebody said, will it be virtual? Well, see, to make it virtual, I need a team of people who can help me record and monitor the virtual. So it may be virtual. I don't know. Yeah, I did lose a lot of weight. I did. I slimmed down to about 170. I was up to about 185 at one point. I slimmed down, but then I was in the hospital for a few days, so I lost weight. I'm like almost lean. I got a little belly fat, but so I needed, the price of this seminar is going to include having someone there that can help me, help me, um, do the virtual if I decide to go that way. So I'm working it all out right now. Thursday is the webinar for getting rid of the student loans. If you guys want to get on it, go to Akeem actually go to mycoyer.org. That's where you org. Put www in first. Let me give you the actual. I'll put it in there. Here's the link, the actual link. So that really is like a little less than 2 weeks from the time of doing the application until now. A little less than 2 weeks, right? So yeah, they're saying 2 to 3 weeks for expediting. I came back. I was up in the hospital until the 10th. Came back that following week. Um we went and did it. I think like it was on a Monday or a Tuesday. We went and did it the 16th. So exactly 15 days from the time 15 days from the time we put that application in, the passport was in the mail today. Remember, recording your nationality properly is the foundation. The foundation for keeping yourself out of the jurisdiction of your money, keeping your money. Somebody said, "Where's a seminar?" I don't know where it's going to be just yet. I haven't decided where it's going to be yet. I wanted someplace nice, someplace nice weather. Not sure. I don't know. So, how do you feel about today? Like where you are with your process, with the things you're trying to create and get off the ground? Are you happy? Are you satisfied? Do you feel like you've been procrastinating? Now's the time. It's gonna be just December before you know it. Again, and we'll be doing a money ritual again. It's good. It's gonna be the time is gonna go by regardless of what you do, whether you're watching TV or working on your callings. The time is going to go by. So what I was doing today, I was studying birth certificates, and there was a couple of pages. Let me put it on over here, so I'll share the screen in a second. I just want to show you why, even in some of these websites, they tell you the history and how birth certificates were recorded. They tell you. Let's see. It's not the screen I want to share. Right there, it says The history of birth certificates might not seem like much, but it makes a vitally important milestones in the country's development and growth. Birth certificates are with you from the first day of your life. However, despite this seeming longevity, the life story of birth certificates only began quite recently. To explore how this came to be and how they grew to become an essential vital record in America, this article looks back over the history of birth certificates to explain why birth certificates are important today. How did birth registrations work before birth certificates? Birth records have been kept by governments around the world for thousands of years. This was primarily done to ensure authorities had a clear idea about their production output and taxable population. Did you hear that? About their production output. So this low key is saying that you get a birth certificate, you're part of their production output. Right? How are you part of the production output? You go get a job, fill out the W-4, become a W-2 wage earner, and now your production output is that money you earn every week, 2 weeks, whatever, how many times they pay you. Your production output. I've been telling you guys, you have been tricked into being a part of their organization. And in this case, in America, it's a religious organization. However, whilst birth records and other vital records like marriages and deaths have been collected by governments for a long time, birth certificates are still a relatively new phenomenon. Before birth certificates was made the norm, information on births were kept in church records. Churches did it. The religious organizations did it. Why do churches kept tabs? Because you were born, your parents they get baptized, they become part of that church, that denomination. You become committed to God through your church. And that's where your laws come from. Understand something. Let me do something here. Shut this off. So don't do that. Understand something. Anytime you're registering anything, they have a registrar, they have a job. That registrar works for the county government because they have a registrar in every county. They are registering for one reason only, is to keep a record of their output production for their benefit. I just read that to you. Right? However, this was not formalized process and there were no laws mandating when and how exactly a person should be legally recorded. See, when they say, oh, there were no laws, see, we have to stop getting fooled by these. There was no laws. We need the laws for this. The churches were doing a fine job recording births and christenings and all of this stuff, all these different things to keep track of their members, to keep track of God's children. So the moment you take the government's version of a birth certificate, you're really being baptized into their governmental authority. You're being so that they control your movement, all of the things, all of the laws they make are for the people that they can control, that they want to control. This is why they say you need a birth certificate, you need a social, you need all of these things, because that's the things that they need to have control. And Every one of those things that you go get, you have to sign off on it under penalty of perjury, meaning that if I got to sign for these things, do I really have to have them from you? Because no one can force you to sign things. Matters were also complicated by the nature of giving birth in older times. Unlike today, most children weren't born in hospitals, and unfortunately, many didn't survive infancy. So they'd say, oh, many wasn't born in the hospital, and a lot of them didn't survive. They may give you this obscure innuendo that children weren't surviving outside of their state-run hospitals. When we know that in this country, the medical industry is third number one killer of people. They're the third leading cause of death. Medical malpractice, medical mistakes. But they want you to believe your natural way of giving birth was more dangerous than their institutions. See how they tricked you into removing you from what you were supposed to be doing into what they want you to do. How were they giving birth in the Bible times? All of these thousands of people that lived, millions of people, billions of people lived before us, before state-run hospitals. I mean, just look at the common sense of things. You know, what we have today is relatively new compared to the history of man. Before they had these way they do things here in this country and other countries, how was people able to survive without that? Because they had a better way of doing things and they were not dying. See, that is the illusion that they give so that you can buy. It's called propaganda, marketing, into believing that they're the safer option. They want you to believe grocery stores are the safer option for your nutrition. And we know that's not true. We know that's not true, right? Most of the stuff in grocery stores are highly processed. The government allows it. FDA allows you to have chemicals, and then they label stuff all natural. Remember what I told you, how they play on words. All natural has a definition in the government. All natural, the way you believe it to be, is not what the government defines it as. All natural is basically anything that a company can produce naturally on their own, meaning it could be a chemical. They put this chemical compound, they did that naturally of their own ingenuity. That's what they call natural. It is not, which when you think no, it's all natural, you mean something growing out of the ground. The government doesn't define it that way. This is how they get away with writing on things like peanut butter and all these other things, that it's all natural. Like I said, after I had this incident, I thought I was eating healthy, and then come to find out most of your peanut butters, almond butters, they're not good for you because they say all natural, but they really have a bunch of chemicals in them. Hydrogenated oils, all of those things that are not good for you. See, they had to get, people were trying to eat natural. Listen, you're not going to get anything natural, even the fruits and vegetables, out of a grocery store unless you grow that stuff yourself. It's not natural because they're using hybrid farming techniques to grow these things. So they're not coming to you as in its natural form. You want to get God created food, you will have to grow it yourself. You will have to do that. Let's stop, get it out of our head that we can go to a grocery store and get all of our nutrition, our daily nutrition. No, you're not going to get it. And you shop on the outside aisles with, your produce, you get close, but still, there's still problems with that. And this is the illusion that will cause many people to starve to death. because they're so programmed under the illusion that the only place they can get food from is the grocery store. Because think about when people think, I'm not going to have any food. The first, no, you're not going to have any food that you can go get out of the grocery store, that they packed and canned and bagged up for you. But if you got soil in your backyard, you can grow some food. And then in times where the food is becoming short, you can just grow enough. Which you may not have the variety you want. You know, most of the stuff we eat is because we want them. It's not because we need them. So like you can just start now, keep some seeds on hand. So when things do get tight, eventually they will. No country survives forever. Eventually, it may happen in my lifetime. It may happen in the next. But this is what we should be teaching our children. Be prepared, where you can have something that you can grow in times when your food runs out. Something that'll supply all your nutritional needs until things can get better. Then you can add to your. It's food around you all over the place. Don't you think it's weird that we have all of these forests as empty lands, and we don't really know what's out there that we can eat, that what's edible? They don't teach us this in school. Why won't teach you? Why will a school teach you how to identify food in the forest or in the woods or anywhere? Because this food that's growing around your house, you just don't know it naturally. How come? Because then you're not supposed to know how a, a a population that's educated on how to feed themselves without the necessity of big corporations processing and packaging food for you to go buy in a store, they become unnecessary. So what is school for? School is simply for you to go to work. Go teach you how to go work for a business. That's what school is for. That's what school is for. So when I'm telling you guys, yo, it's time. We got to really start preparing and setting ourselves up separate and become self-sustaining, because at some point you won't have a choice but to be self-sustaining, because the availability of these other institutions won't be there. A. White says, to all folks watching, I found a king 5 years ago. Say this about this brother. He knows what he's doing. I have personal things without saying too much online about my issues. Simply invest in self. Absolutely. Thank you for that. Big ups. That shout out. Thank you. Indie Circle Ministry says, peace, my brother. Corinne says, happy Tuesday, everyone. Richie DeMoss says, peace. Will it be virtual? I answered that. AY, keep up the good work. Thank you. And there's the website to go sign up for the student loans so you can get rid of those student loans. And Hop Along says, peace all. Peace back to you. That's another person that's been around for a good while. Pretty much my whole journey. Faithful to the cause. Oh, just a big up. Another successful. Got a text early. Hey, I got my recruitment. It's happening. It's real, y'all. It's real. Patience, congratulations to the brother. Patience paid off, even though it's frustrating at times trying to get it done. He got it done. Says my great grandmother and her brother, my great uncle, 2 times removed, kept their birth certificates in a Bible. My mother is in her mid 80s. She told us no one knows where the Bible is. See, we've been taught to just let a preacher teach us what the Bible says and what it's for. The Bible is not just about teaching God's rules and laws. The Bible is about keeping track of your tribe. I mean, in the beginning, if you read the Bible itself, you read it yourself. Let's go to some scriptures. They started off with the genealogies of everyone. They started off. And I'll go to where it starts. These are the descendants. See, they wrote their history in the Bible. These are the descendants of Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Children were born to them after the flood. The descendants of Japheth, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshach, and Tyrus. The descendants of Gomer, Ashkenaz, Ripath, Togarmah. The descendants of Javan, Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, Rodanim. From these the coastland people spread. These are the descendants of Japheth in their lands with their own language by their families in their nation. It said they even had their own language. The descendants of Ham, Cush, Egypt, Put, and Canaan. So there was someone named Egypt. So I'm thinking this person named Egypt is why they have the country Egypt. It was named after the original. Put, Canaan, right? They had a land called Canaan, right? The descendants of Cush, I think they had a land called Cush as well. Seba, Havilah, Sapta, Ramah, Saptika. The descendants of Ramah, Sheba, Dedan. Cush became the father of Nimrod. He was the first on the earth to become a mighty warrior. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Therefore, it is said, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter before the Lord, the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, Erech, and Akkad, all of them in the land of Shinar. The beginning of his kingdom was Babel. This is actually a name of someone, Babel. Because it says Babel, Erech, and Akkad, all of them in the land of Shinar, referring to people. From that land, he went into Assyria and built Nineveh, Rehoboth, Calah, and Resen between Nineveh and Calah, and that is the great city. Egypt became the father of Ludim, Ananim, Lahabim, Tuhim, Pethusim, Kaluhim, and Keptorium, from which the Philistines come. They're telling you where all the people came from. They're recording. This is why you got to record. You got to make your record. And you say record and record. Canaan became the father of Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth, and the Jebusites, Amorites, and Girgashites, the Hivites, the Arkites, Sinites, the Arvadites, the Zemarites, and the Hamathites. Afterward, the families of the Canaanites spread abroad, and Canaanite was the descendants of Canaan. And just to add to it, where's the real Canaan at? Canada. Up there. Canada. That's Canaan land. Canaanites extended from Sidon into the direction of Gera and far as Gaza in the direction of Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboam, and far as Lasha. These are the descendants of Ham by their families, their language, their lands, and their nations. To Shem, also the father of all the children of Eber, the elder brother of Japheth, children were born. The descendants of Shem, Elam, Asher, Apashad, Lud, and Aram. The descendants of Aram, Uz, Hul, Gether, and Mash. This is it. And then if you read on, they talk about this one begot this and beget this one. They put the record in here. They put it here. So you have to put it in here. You have to attach your record. It's called annexing. Annexing your record onto theirs. This Bible record. You have to annex. You got to become a part of the history of the Bible. Annex means append, add an extra or subordinate part, especially to documents. The first 10 amendments were an annex to the Constitution in 1791. An addition to a document. You have to annex. All right? See? I mean, if you have any doubt, just read the Bible. Remember, this book is considered the Word of God. And anything you put in there becomes the Word of God to them. A. White says, last thing, when you invest in this, brother, you will get back 100-fold, no doubt. Thank you. Yes, I try to give you watch. This next seminar, that's what's going to be, man. It's going to be the seminars of all seminars. I'm going to deep dive, and it's going to be actual doing things, not just sitting there listening to me talk. Part of the journey was, properly getting married under your religious rights. I got that under my belt. I'm doing another wedding. Business partner I met, doing that in July. Gonna be doing his wedding. Then after that, we heading out over to the seas. We got a trip planned after that. This has been an interesting year. I won't say rough. I won't give it those negative terms. It's just a year of a more awakening and learning how to navigate things that may become challenging or difficult to handle. Becoming at peace with my decisions, becoming at peace with just removing situations that are not serving its highest cause in me or in general. And that's what we have, one thing's for certain, whenever you go through something, it's going to change you, and it's either going to turn you in the direction of being worse, or it's going to turn you in the direction of being elevating yourself. And when I mean elevate, not elevate over people, we can't think like that. We're not better than people. I'm not better than anyone. I just want to be a source of proper information that can free you. That's it. I'm just information. That's what I'm here for, to give information, not to dominate, rule, and become the leader of information. I gotta be number one. No, it's just about giving the information so y'all can do something. I don't want to just give information. I don't see anybody getting results. It really frustrates me when I don't see results in some things. So I'm gonna leave it right there for this evening. Yes, can you create a birth certificate if even though you're in your 50s, 60s, you're older person? Yes, you can create that record. You can do it. You can do it. That's why you have to get the notary authenticated and record that into the Bible. And they have like this is the I could actually give you an example of some Bibles you can order. It costs about $40. You look for family, say family Bible. This is one. Some of them call them family heirloom Bibles. This is the one I've used at the last wedding I did. I'll share this. There it is. That'll have everything you need to record your stuff. Record your births, your marriages. See? There it is. Take a record. Yeah, copy that link. Actually, what I'll do, I'll give you the link to it. So if you want to order it, you can order it. Oh, where's my link at? All right, put this in the chat for you. Here's the link. And that Bible looks so good sitting on the stand where we were doing the wedding. Looks so good. And then after the wedding, we signed off on it. It was good. All right, that's it for the day. I'm a little, I was running around. My energy depletes a little sooner. I'm still recovering to a degree. Oh, you know what? Just want to thank everybody that keeps joining in week after week. Share this information. It's real information. Join the membership. People are getting results there. I told you, I just got a text. I'm not going to put their business out there and show you the money they got back. I could. I just have to redact it and all the information. But anyway, with that being said, I'm going to leave y'all with that word. Not too much preaching tonight. But stay on your goals. The year's almost gone, halfway gone. It's going to be another year pretty soon. Stay on it. And with that being said, peace, prosperity, and extreme wealth to everyone. Have a good night. Peace, prosperity, and extreme wealth to all you guys.
This is Hindsight Radio. I represent.